People in Berlin gathered across the city to mourn after a woman was killed and at least 29 others were injured during an alleged terrorist attack at the Berlin LGBTQ+ Pride Parade. The suspect is a 21-year-old German-born citizen who authorities said had known ties to ISIS and was given a suspended 1 year and 10-month sentence for preparing a serious act of violence endangering the state, according to Berlin prosecutors. In addition to the suspended sentence, he was ordered by the juvenile court in Berlin to attend a de-radicalization program for high-risk offenders. One of the program's leaders told CBS News the suspect was soon to be disqualified after staff said they believed his cooperation appeared fake. Germany has had both government and nonprofit de-radicalization programs since the early 2000s, according to a study by think tank the Barcelona Center for International Affairs. Those programs were primarily for right-wing extremists, specifically neo-Nazis. But since 2010, there's been an increase in programs working specifically with jihadist extremists. The organizations attempt to help individuals leave extremist movements and start a new life. That assistance can include arranging contacts, providing financial or logistical aid for leaving the movement, and helping people examine the ideologies and past experiences that led them to pursue violence. These programs make sure families and other community members are involved so former extremists have a safety net. For example, a program run by the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees in Germany, which uses non-governmental counselors, allows relatives of Islamic extremists to call a national hotline to ask for intervention for a family member. According to the Barcelona Center for International Affairs, the hotline resulted in more than 3,000 counseling cases between 2012 and 2020. The program that was working with the suspect in this Berlin case, Violence Prevention Network, now is a non-governmental organization that handles the logistical side once an individual has transitioned away from extremist ideology. And the group's communications director told CBS News, quote, "We help them with a flat and with a job. We have to make sure that this person gets totally integrated into society." Let's go ahead and bring in Bill Braniff. He's the executive director of the Polarization and Extremism Research and Innovation Lab at the American University. So since he was known to authorities, was about to be disqualified from this program after staff saw red flags, what questions do you have?
Thanks, Lindsay. I'd be curious to understand what the relationship was between the public safety officials and our colleagues at the Violence Prevention Network. I think it's good and right to be pursuing two strategies at the same time. What can we do to support an individual so that they rehabilitate, reintegrate into society, and don't reoffend, while at the same time, given the criminal record and the attempt to join ISIS, maintaining appropriate supervision of that individual from the public safety side. Those two things can happen at the same time, and I'd be curious to understand if they were happening in parallel or in sequence. Did the public safety piece of that equation end before the Violence Prevention Network's rehabilitation work was to begin?
Well, and so as we mentioned, he was found guilty of assault and extortion with the intent to rob. But the first signs of extremism were in 2024 when he shared 2 ISIS posts on social media. This is according to information provided to CBS News by Berlin prosecutors. But this director of comms for this program asked why the authorities didn't start the process earlier, because he was known for being a radical for a long time. How important is it to get to the bottom of these questions to prevent future attacks?
It is so important to invest in early prevention, right? Early interventions. We know that individuals can desist from engaging in extremist crime. They can disengage from extremist networks. And the earlier we try to provide wraparound services, the more effective that can be. In this instance, though, there were a couple of important risk factors for violence. We know that having a prior criminal record, even if that criminal record doesn't have to do with violent extremism, is still a risk factor for violence once someone adopts an extremist worldview. The travel to Lebanon to try to make it to Syria is obviously a second behavioral indicator that was of tremendous concern. And so this is a challenging case, but the earlier we can invest in prevention, the better. And it is really important not to overemphasize the concerns here or the risks, meaning in the United States, among individuals who have been prosecuted for Islamist terrorist cases, the recidivism rate is very low. It's about 3%. And so this is based on research by Omi Hodwitz, the Terrorism Recidivism Project. And What that means is we can decrease the likelihood that these individuals will reoffend. It is possible to do. We shouldn't give up because of one incident, but we should take these incidents very seriously.
Bill Braniff, thank you.